Imagine, nestled at the foot of the Pyrenees in southern France, a dilapidated village where electricity is a rare luxury. An elderly man, gaunt of face and silver of hair, sits alone before a flickering hearth, consigning stack after stack of manuscripts, papers that could shatter the foundations of global science, into the flames. Upon these pages danced symbols from the absolute vanguard of human intellect, the mathematical ciphers of the universe's underlying architecture. Yet to him, the glories that once crowned him king were now nothing more than burdensome ash. This man was Alexander Grothendieck, the founding father of modern algebraic geometry. Tonight, by the soft pulse of the firelight, let us traverse the path of his true life through this story. He possessed one of the greatest minds of the 20th century, yet at the zenith of his brilliance, he chose to vanish utterly from the human gaze. He left behind an insurmountable academic monument and a silence as profound as an abyss, spanning over 20 years. Was this absolute severance a spiritual sublimation, or a silent, agonizing protest against the era he inhabited? Grothendieck's destiny seemed branded with the marks of displacement and defiance from the very moment of his birth. His father was a Russian Jewish anarchist, his mother, a German journalist of privileged stock who turned her back on her class for the sake of revolution. This volatile, rebellious lineage transformed Alexander's childhood into an endless exodus. Amidst a European continent shrouded in the storm clouds of World War II, he once hid in the forests along the Franco-German border, lulled to sleep by the distant thunder of artillery. In those days, he had yet to encounter the abstractions of mathematics. His first lesson was the art of maintaining spiritual sovereignty amidst a landscape of hatred and hunger. He once peered at the starry heavens through the cracks in the wooden planks of a concentration camp, wondering if the celestial motions held an order that transcended life and death. It was this primal thirst for logic, born of extreme oppression, that became the bedrock of his future mathematical cathedrals. To him, mathematics was not mere calculation, but a quest for the singular structure within a chaotic universe that no tyranny could dismantle. Learning the fundamental axioms in exile, he even independently derived the theory of Lebesgue measure, an isolated evolution that ensured his future thought would remain entirely unchained from the stagnant conventions of traditional academia. And the Paris of 1948, this genius was finally unearthed by the mathematical elite, though he arrived like a brash interloper. He brought his raw, yet profound intuitions to the world's top institutions, where professors were stunned to find a young man who had never even heard of certain fundamental theorems. Yet, the moment Grothendieck began to conjure unseen structures upon the blackboard, all skepticism dissolved into awe. Over the following 2 decades, he became the gravitational center of the IHES, Institut de Hautes Études Scientifiques, a place revered as the temple of mathematics. Like a sorcerous architect, he used schemes and categories to redefine the very way we perceive space. His productivity was frightening. Working over 12 hours a day, tens of thousands of manuscript pages flowed from his pen. He ushered in a golden era known as the Grothendieck epoch, where mathematicians from across the globe flocked to him to receive his wisdom. He was hailed as the Pope of mathematics, and every term he coined became a beacon for global research. Yet, he maintained an ascetic simplicity, his office containing nothing but a desk, a few chairs, and the infinite expanse of his thoughts. It was as if he used this pure, intellectual ecstasy to compensate for the tranquility he had been denied during his fractured youth. Nevertheless, a rift was widening beneath the surface, a collision between a genius's idealism and the grit of worldly reality was inevitable. In the late 1960s, a period of global upheaval, Grothendieck discovered that his institute accepted funding from the French military. To a survivor raised in the shadow of war and concentration camps, this association was a betrayal beyond reckoning. He did not merely protest, he took the most drastic course of action, resigning from all his posts and abandoning the academic sanctuary he had helped build. He attempted to bridge mathematical research with social activism, but soon realized that the labyrinthine rules of society were far more elusive than those of algebraic geometry. The purity he craved proved fragile when caught in the tug-of-war between politicians and mediocrity. He began to question the intrinsic value of mathematics itself. If these frigid symbols could not halt a massacre, if they were destined to be co-opted for destruction, then what was the purpose of the quest? His logic, once as clear as a diamond, shattered into a near-obsessive rage when confronted with the grey moralities of humanity. He withdrew from the world of accolades, even refusing to travel to Moscow to accept the Fields Medal. He grew reclusive, transforming in the eyes of his former disciples into an incomprehensible and dangerous outsider. One day in 1991, Grothendieck made his final shocking decree. He bid farewell to his friends and family and vanished into thin air. He relocated to Lasserre, a tiny hamlet deep within the Pyrenees, severing his telephone lines and refusing all correspondence. The former pope was reborn as a nameless old man in homespun clothes, treading slowly along mountain paths. There he spent 23 years, his only companions the howling wind, the birdsong, and the interminable winter nights. It is said he wrote every day, but no longer of mathematics. Instead, he explored the landscape of dreams, religion, and the internal tribunal of his soul. He once wrote to his former students demanding they destroy his unpublished manuscripts and cease the circulation of his works. This wholesale negation of his own creation sent a bone-chilling shiver of confusion through the outside world. What was he seeking? Was he searching for the boy who once gazed at the stars from a concentration camp? Or was he attempting, through this total erasure, to attain an ultimate freedom, one unconstrained by any structure? In that solitary hut, he gardened, walked, and pondered, as if mathematics had never existed, and yet, as if it had become the very air he breathed. In 2014, Alexander Grothendieck passed away peacefully in a hospital in St. Girons at the age of 86. It was only after his departure that the world discovered he had left behind over 20,000 pages of manuscripts during his seclusion, his final life's blood. These pages recorded a soul's final dialogue with the universe in solitude, brimming with divinely inspired intuition and agonizing self-reflection. His life was a testament to the refusal of compromise, a story of how a genius defended the sanctity of his soul. Through his disappearance, he cast a long shadow over this clamorous, profit-driven age. We may never fully grasp his mathematics, much less comprehend why he chose such radical isolation. But tonight, in this quiet moment, we can feel the unadulterated passion of his pursuit of truth. Like the mountain wind, unclutchable yet tangible, it brushes against every heart that yearns for serenity. Now the tale is told. The complex formulae and the heavy shadows of the past have softened into a faint warmth by your bedside. May Grothendieck, in that star-strewn sky where no coordinates exist, find the ultimate, undefinable answer he sought all his life. Good night.